Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Come on in. My name is Noah Scardato, and today I will be teaching you how to make pizza. Come a little closer. Here. So, these are some of the ingredients that you're going to need and the tools that we're going to need today to make the dough. We will go over what we're going to need for the toppings later. So, we're going to need our trusty old tablespoon, teaspoons, our cup measurement, a little bit of oil, preferably vegetable oil or olive oil, whatever you want to choose though. Some water, a bowl to mix it in. We're going to need our bread flour, a little bit of sugar, salt, and the key to the bread rising is yeast. And then, personally, I like using a little bit of garlic powder because I really enjoy that. Now I'm going to be adding 2 cups of flour. Just a little bit more just to make it even. So when I'm cooking, I think that the best way to do things, well, in this case, we have our bag of sugar, but if I just had a little bit of sugar, I wouldn't really be taking measurements. But since we have a big bag, I don't want to pour too much in. So we're going to take about 1 tablespoon or teaspoon of sugar. And we're going to put that to the side. Now we're going to do the same amount of salt. A little too much, but that's okay. That's the fun in it, right? Different every time. So now we're gonna put the salt aside. Same with that. We're gonna get our packet of yeast, shake it a little bit, get it to the bottom. We're just gonna put it all in there. It's gonna look like a lot, but it's gonna do wonders for us later. So now we're gonna wanna stir this up a little bit. Actually, before we do this, we should add the garlic in. So for me, I like putting a little bit of garlic powder in. I think it adds some flavor that I really like. I love garlic, I put it in everything. So now we're gonna keep mixing it. Maybe add a little bit more flour. You just wanna make sure you're getting some ratios right. Just add maybe 1/4 cup more flour. So now that we got everything right, the way we want it, we're gonna get some warm water. You can microwave it for a little bit or just let the tap run under it. You want some warm water because this way it's gonna activate the yeast. So we're gonna pour a little bit in. Look at this. We're gonna put a little bit in and now we're just gonna mix it. We don't wanna put too much in at once because then we're gonna have to add a lot more flour. We're gonna wanna keep repeating this process and add a little bit of oil. Just maybe 1 gulp. There, that's about it. Maybe a tablespoon of oil. And we're gonna leave the oil there, but we're gonna wanna repeat this process with the water, putting it in there until it's starting to clump up. We're just gonna keep adding water until it looks like this. You know, there's gonna be some flour hanging around, but we're gonna use that later. So now, we're gonna put a little bit of flour on our table, just to make sure it doesn't stick. Now once we have that there, we're gonna grab our dough ball, and you're gonna wanna make sure you have clean hands, and we're just gonna knead it. So what I personally like doing is kneading the dough until, see how it gets sticky on your hands? It gets all over your hands because it's still kind of wet. So personally what I do, it's about 10 minutes long kneading the dough, but I don't really go by minutes, I just go by the feel, and you wanna keep kneading the dough until your hands are clean. Afraid to add more flour if it starts getting sticky. See how I'm kind of eating the flour up into the final stretch. My hands are getting a little bit cleaner. So now we're gonna add a little bit of oil to our clean bowl. We cleaned it out, and we're gonna throw our dough in there. And the oil is so it doesn't stick to the sides when it rises. And we want it to sit in a warm area for about 2 hours. Dough and the oil in the bowl. We're gonna put a little bit of saran wrap or plastic wrap over it. Let it sit in a warm environment for 2 hours and let the yeast do its work. Whoa, that's crazy. As you can see here, our dough has risen a ton. The yeast did its work. Now, we're probably gonna split this up into thirds or halves And I'm gonna save the dough ball for another day to make more pizza because pizza's awesome. Pizzas cook at a very high temperature, so we're gonna preheat our oven right now to about 450 degrees. We split it apart and we are spreading it out on our pan. So me personally, I like using flour because it gives it a little bit more of a crisp taste on the bottom, but some people like putting oil so it doesn't stick, and some people also like putting cornstarch. But now we're just putting it on there. We're gonna start from the middle. We're gonna just keep pressing to the edges till your desired thickness and how big you want your pizza. The desired length and thickness, I patted it down where I want it to be thin, and I raised the crust up a little bit. We're gonna get pizza sauce. I just went with the generic Walmart brand. Hear that pop? Fresh. So I just went with our fresh pizza sauce, and you're gonna want to grab it with a spoon and just start it in the middle and just go in circles until you don't really want any more. I like having a lot of sauce and a lot of cheese, really making the pizza experience great. So I'm gonna keep piling this on, but you pretty much just spread it till your crust. Sauce on our pizza, we're gonna put that aside. We'll deal with that later. And now I got my mozzarella cheese. Personally, I think mozzarella cheese is the best for pizza. I've actually done some research on it. Mozzarella cheese is the best. You don't really want to get the low moisture. If you can, you want to get something that's more high moisture. So not so much that it's going to soak the pizza, but you want something that isn't going to leave like a weird crust on it. So I got the whole milk mozzarella cheese because my hopes with that is that it'll be a little bit thicker. So now you just want to lightly graze the top with however much you want. We got our desired amount of cheese on. We're just going to wait until our oven's preheated because we want to put it in right when it's at 450 degrees. Our oven is preheated to its desired heat. We're going to throw it in, and we're just going to let it sit there until it is to our desired color. When it looks like this, you want to take it out, set it here, let it rest for a little bit, and cut it up. And enjoy. Thank you for listening, and this is how you make pizza.